Welcome parents. Today's video is all about the Stayfree extension. This is going to be an extension that you can add to your child's browser to ensure they stay focused during school hours. So we are going to go through two variations. One, adding Stayfree to the Chrome extension, and then we'll do it a second time, but we'll be adding it to the Microsoft Edge extension. So let's get started. You're going to open up your Chrome app on your child's device, and you can just open up a new tab. On the top right hand side of the screen, you're going to see three dots. If you click on that and you scroll all the way down to a puzzle piece, it should be titled Extensions. If you click on that and you click on Manage Selections, it'll open you up to this page. You're then going to go to your Chrome Web Store, and this will allow you to search for Stayfree. And you'll see it pops up on your screen as follows: Stayfree Website Blocker, and then you can just click on it and add to Chrome. Okay, then you're going to add the extension and you're going to give it a second to load. Okay, once it has downloaded, it will open up another tab for you titled Welcome to Stayfree. You're going to click Continue, and you're going to fill in all the relevant information. I'm going to skip since I don't need to download it, but you can fill in the information on your child's device. Right, then you can click Use Stayfree. It'll open you up onto the dashboard. This dashboard will give you all the information you need. It's going to be very enlightening for you. It's going to give you usage time and total usage stats. Now, this usage time will give you an indication as to whether or not your child was distracted during school hours. It'll tell you exactly what app was used and at what time of day, right? But first, you want to ensure that the settings is accurate. So you're going to start by going to usage limits, right? We're going to start a category within usage limits. You're going to click the plus and then limit website and apps. And then you're going to select block on a schedule, right? Once you've selected block on a schedule, you can select the hours you want them to limit the access for. Okay, so we want to limit access for Monday through to Friday, and I know that school starts in my household from 7:45. Okay, so at 7:45, I don't want them to have access to anything else. Okay, and I think that I want them to stay limited until 3 o'clock in the afternoon because that's when they do homework until. All right, so I selected the times that I want to limit their availability, and then you're going to move on to the next step. Right, we're going to set up a category name. So we're going to name our category School Hours. Okay. Now we know the school hours, we've checked everything's correct, and then you have to actually select the relevant apps. So I don't want my child to have access to Facebook, Netflix, anything of the sort. I'm going to make sure that all of those are selected. The availability here will depend on the apps that are installed on your child's device. Then I'm going to click on category, and I'm going to immediately select all. Right? And then I'm going to deselect the ones I do want them to gain access to. So education and business is one I would deselect. And then I'm going to deselect entertainment. But just be wary here, that's going to give them access to YouTube throughout the day, but it might also gain access to things like Netflix. So just make sure that you have the right app selected on the apps and websites. Okay, then I'm going to select save to make sure it's saved, and then I'll click save. Now you'll see we have our category that is available, right? If we want to edit it, you can select on the little pencil icon. Okay, but now you don't want your child to be able to edit this at any time. So we're going to go to settings, and we're going to read through all the different options here. It's just going to inform you on what each one does, so you can read through each and every one of those. And then what we're going to do is we are going to check the settings here. Okay, the top settings are not all that relevant. You can cater those to your needs. All right, so now that we've spoken a little bit about the settings that you can either toggle on or toggle off, you can also keep an eye on your daily summary notification. If you would like to track whether or not your child is doing what they need to, or if they're maybe spending time on the wrong apps, especially during school hours, you can have immediate access to this information. So you can then keep your daily summary notification toggled on. And then what you can do is you can actually pair certain devices to this account. So the extension is loaded onto certain devices, and then what you can do is you pair it to your phone. So for example, I know that my child needs their laptop and their iPad during the day. So I want access to both of those devices so that I can track whether or not they're getting sidetracked. So the nice thing about this is that you can then add any devices you see fit, and you can actually access them directly from your phone. This way, you can keep an eye out for whether or not they've uninstalled the app perhaps, if suddenly you see that, oh, the app's not showing up on my device anymore. This is not a syncing error. This is not an issue with the extension. It means that it has been uninstalled from their device, in which case you can just hop onto their device and you can reload it. Okay, so what you're going to do to pair your device is the following. We're going to look at it from an iOS point of view, and thereafter we will put you onto the Android view. You're going to go to your Stayfree dashboard, right? And this is now on the original device, so the device that you have actually installed Stayfree on, and you can go to Settings. All right, so once you go to Settings, you're going to see a little button here that says Add. It's a little plus sign, Pair New Device. Now what you need to do is, you need to go to the device that you want to add the extension to. So now I'm going to switch over to my iPad, where I'm now going to sync the app. First things first, you are going to go to your App Store and you are going to go and search for Stayfree on the App Store. Okay, so I'm going to say Stayfree and I'm going to download it. I've already downloaded mine, so I'm just going to click open. You can just download yours. Right, the next step, you'll see everything is blank here. There's no information. All right, so you'll see everything is blank because there is no connected device. So currently it is just the app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to click devices. Once I've clicked devices, I will click the pair device option. Now it's going to give me a code. That code is going to be the code you're going to use for the pairing. So now on the other device, which is my laptop right now, I'm going to select the pair device. And you're going to see it's going to give you the different options. So we are using iOS, so I'm going to say the Stayfree iOS app, okay? And then you'll see it's going to give me an option for that pairing code. So my pairing code was 417686. So I'm going to type that in, and it says you're connected. You can now view the usage for all your paired devices. So I'm going to say close, and you'll see here it shows me the two different devices. So we've got the device I'm currently on, which is the Windows Chrome extension, and then we have the Apple iPad 9th generation. So that's what I've just connected it to. Now, if we go to the iPad view, it's going to look as follows. So you'll see it says pair device, you're connected. You can now view the usage of all your connected devices. So I'm going to say close. Right. So now from my devices screen, I can navigate to websites and apps. And the websites and apps here will be the apps that I have access. So you'll see on my devices, I've still got 2 connected. This is another way for you to very easily see whether or not it has been uninstalled. If they unlink the device, it will disappear from there. I'll show you an example in a little bit. So we're going to navigate to apps. Now what you're going to see is it's going to show you all of the apps I have accessed throughout today. How many times I've accessed the page, how long I was on the page for, and the time I accessed it. So you'll see I've accessed Notability 5 times today and I've spent a total of 48 minutes. I've been on Teams for 45 minutes. But you know that we spend a lot of time on websites. So a lot of our Canvas courses are accessed through Chrome sometimes. You can access it through the app, but you can very easily access it through Chrome, as well as Cluster and that sort of thing. So you can then navigate to the website page. Now you'll see all the different websites your child has been on. So from the website page, it's quite interesting because you'll see the graph at the top tells you exactly what time the child accessed that thing. So you'll see there's times right at the top on your graph. Right, so you'll see Saintsburg Instructure, so that's my Canvas course. I've accessed it 44 times today for a total of 54 minutes. Okay, my Saintsburg SharePoint, 56 sessions. Google Docs, 106 sessions. And you'll see exactly where your child has spent their time, and you can actually gauge whether or not they were being productive. Maybe you see Instagram popping up here, and then you think to yourself, but I blocked the Instagram app. But you didn't block it through the browser. So now you can see all the little workarounds, and it can give you all the information you need to help your child. Now, a really nice thing to take note of here is that you can filter through the different devices. So we know that sometimes you have access to a laptop, an iPad, and a phone. So now there's 3 devices to keep track of. So if you click on filter at the top of your screen, and you click on the devices option, it'll show me exactly what other devices I can choose from. So I can either say all devices, I can say this device, or I can say the Windows Chrome extension. If I had another device paired, it would give me another option, and you can pick exactly which device you want to keep an eye out on. So let's say I say this device and I say apply. You might see a screen like this, no usage found as you use Safari. That's not an issue. All you're going to do is you're going to turn on the extension. So you're going to click on that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to open Safari's menu from the address bar, click on Manage Extensions, right? So that's that little Pac-Man looking thing there. You click Manage Extensions. You'll see My Stayfree is toggled off. So you're just going to toggle yours back on and you're going to say done. And then all the information should pop over onto your Stayfree app. Okay, now I'm going to reload my page and you will see everything pops up. I haven't been on my iPad much today, so far the only app I've accessed is the Stayfree app. All right, and then that's how you can keep track. Now, to remove a device from your iOS system, you go to Devices and you can just say Edit. When you click Edit, there will be a little red option popping up on the left, and if you click on that, you'll see that it allows me to remove it. So if I click on it, it says Leave Group, so I say Leave Group, and I can say delete, and then it will be removed. Now, the only person you want removing apps is you. So if you see a device disappearing, then you know something has gone wrong and you need to go do some troubleshooting. All right, so sweet and simple. Now, let's have a look at the same screen from the laptop perspective. Right, so you can also do something similar from your laptop. So if I go to dashboard, you will see it gives me the same information. So from the dashboard page here, you can see exactly how much time was spent on each thing. Then you can also see the total usage, and it's a much more detailed perspective. So if you want a lot of details and you want to edit the graph that you're seeing, the laptop perspective is the best, right? So you'll see I can change it from bar chart to a line chart if I like, and I can change it from hourly to daily, or back to hourly. So I prefer the bar chart. I feel like it's easier to read. And then you can go and have a look. It gives you a bunch of different information, right? So here on the right-hand side, I have another little chart and I have all my devices. So again, you can filter. It doesn't necessarily have to be all devices, okay? So you'll see it shows up like that, right? So you can also access the previous days if you like. I think if you check this daily, you don't need to backtrack, but perhaps you want to go check a specific day, and then you can access it through this. Right. So here, if you click on the three dots, you'll say filter, you can say all devices, or I can say, oh, I want to see the iPad. Right. Now I'm on my laptop as a parent, and I can see exactly what is happening on my child's iPad. Right. So you can access it like this. All right. An important thing for you to take note of is that the time that it gives you is determined by how much time was spent with the page open in front of you. So if I have the app open in the background, it's not going to log that time because you're not actively using that app, right? So for example, if I open up Outlook, or, for your child, from your child's perspective, Instagram or Facebook, or Takealot, or any other app that they might be using, and you let them log in, and you go back to the main screen and you refresh your page, you will see that it will appear specifically on the dashboard, but the time is going to be relevant and related to how long they spent on that app. So you'll see I just logged in, so my Microsoft Outlook shows me 3 seconds. So if your child says to you, oh no, but I was doing homework for 3 hours, and you log in and it says 10 minutes, then it means that the app was only open for 10 minutes, right? So in other words, if I have it running in the background like it currently is, it's not logging that time. So that's an important takeaway for you to just make note of, all right? Okay, so let's get into the Android perspective. Right, so to access the Stayfree app, you are going to download it from your Play Store, and then you can go into it once it's downloaded. Your next step is to go to the settings. You can usually access this by clicking the 3 dots on the top left-hand side of your screen, and it should open you up to a screen like this. From there, you're going to click on settings. Right, now what you're going to do is you are going to pair your device. So you are going to pair your device using the same system as we did for the iOS. So from the actual laptop, or the main device, you're going to go to settings and you're going to go and say pair device. You'll see I currently have 2 devices connected. All right, so I currently have the Windows Chrome extension, that's this device, and I've got my Apple iPad. Now we're going to add a third device. So I'm going to click the plus new device from your laptop, and you are going to select the Stayfree Android app. All right, so you're going to click the Stayfree Android app. Then it's going to give you a code. So on your actual Android, you're going to go to the settings. You're going to say pair new device, right? We are going to connect this one through the Stayfree browser extension because we are connecting to the extension, right? And then we're going to enter the pairing code. And our pairing code is 511961. You will get a different code each time. And then you'll see it gives me a message. You're paired. You can now view the usage for all your paired devices. And I got the same message on my laptop. So I'm going to close that. And then we can discuss a few of the settings. So you'll see by the paired devices, I now have 3 different devices connected. I've got the Samsung, I've got the Apple iPad, and I've got the Windows Chrome extension. So all 3 of them are together, even though I didn't connect the phone to the iPad. The main device is the laptop. So we've connected all of our devices to that. So all 3 of these devices are now synced together. So what you're going to do now is you can go back and you'll be able to see all of the usage. So if I click on my usage, you'll see that Android gives you a better graph than the iOS. So it gives you a bar graph for you to just keep an eye out for. And you'll see it gives me all the different times and the different apps that I've been on. All right. And then you can also change between devices. So here I say Samsung. If I click on it, you'll see I want to move on to, Apple iPad today. And then I'm going to refresh. Once I've refreshed, if my child was on the iPad for that day, their usage will pop up. And I can even go back to the Windows Chrome extension. So then you'll see because my child was on her laptop, all of her information pops up here. All right. So if there is nothing, it means the device was inactive. Or perhaps it means that somehow they have uninstalled the extension. So then you can just go troubleshoot and see what the issue might be. All right, so nice and easy. You can even set usage limits from that specific device. So let's say I want to set the usage limit from my phone. I can do that. I think initially you can give your child the benefit of the doubt and sort of just let this activity guide your trust with them. You'll be able to see anything they access even without the usage limit. If you see that maybe they're taking chances, then you could take it one step further and you can add the usage limit as you see fit. You can even do some in-app blocking. All right. Now, to remove devices from your phone, you follow a very similar procedure. So you can go click on the 3 dots at the top, you go back to settings, and then you'll see all the paired devices there. And from those paired devices, I can even delete devices from there. So I'm going to say, okay, you know what? The iPad broke. We don't need it anymore. Remove device, and it will be removed. We don't need the Windows Chrome extension. Remove device. All right. So it's super simple to remove a device. So let that be a word of caution. Just keep an eye out for that. All right. One thing to keep in mind is that you can actually assess their activity based on how much time you know they should be spending on their devices, right? So we know on Fridays we're supposed to be doing homework assignments, and we know each homework assignment for a subject might take 40 minutes. So if I've got 2 subjects, I needed to spend at least 80 minutes on my device. And if I see that that's not aligning with my Stayfree settings, then I realize that either maybe they're rushing through the work, maybe they spent far too much time, right? And then you can see, okay, what was taking you that long? So this will also help guide them and you as you tackle homework problems, and you can see exactly where time is being spent, all right? So our general rule of thumb is if you have our general package, you want to spend at least 2 to 4 hours on Canvas on a Friday because you need to do your homework assignments for all your different subjects. So usually on a Friday, you don't want to see less than 2 to 4 hours depending on how many subjects you have, right? You can assess how much time you need to be spending on each thing based on the number of subjects, the type of assignment, and so forth. And then I'm going to set a PIN to make sure that my child can't reset these settings. So I'm going to change the PIN and I'm going to make it something that they won't easily guess. Okay, so now I've set the PIN protection and that's all I really need access to here on the setting page. Okay, now what we're going to go do is we're going to go fine tune the settings within the apps that they have availability for. So I'm going to go to in-app blocking. I'm going to go and ensure that my YouTube settings are accurate because I don't want them to get sidetracked. So YouTube is something that we know they might need during the day, but we also know that it is easy to fall into a little bit of a wormhole, and you're going to suddenly start following or watching a million different videos that are not academic. So you can edit the settings accordingly. So we're going to start by ensuring that the home page doesn't give them a million different recommended videos, right? Because when you first click on YouTube, all the different videos that they watch in their free time are going to pop up, and then it's very easy to get sidetracked. So we're going to hide the homepage. We're also going to make sure that they don't have access to shorts, comments, or any recommended videos. They don't need access. All they need to be watching during school hours would be academic related videos, and we can give them the specific title to make sure that they're watching the right one. You don't need subscriptions. We don't need the Explorer page. We don't need the end cards either. So the end cards refers to that little pop-up at the end of the YouTube video that is basically a recommended, but it takes them into the next video. You can turn that off. So you can even turn it on to black and white mode if you really like, but I think that one's being a bit excessive. I think this will be the perfect amount of settings. You can also click on the disable autoplay. Now we can test to see whether or not it worked. So I can search YouTube, and I'll go into YouTube just to make sure that it's the right thing. And it should open up to the home page. But when it opens up to the home page, you should just see a white screen because we did say disable the home page. Now if I search something specific, it'll pop up. Okay. Now I've searched the specific video, and if I click on it and I skip all the way to the end, you will see that the recommended video at the end doesn't show. You'll also see that on the right hand side there is no recommended music or recommended videos afterwards because we simply wanted to focus on the right thing. You'll also see if you scroll down to the bottom of the page that there are no comments available because the comments were not necessary. Okay. Now what you can do is you can test whether or not a few of your other settings are going to work. So if I add a new tab and I search gaming, it will appear because it's a normal search thing. But the moment I try go into something, let's say I say free online games, it is going to give me an issue because I did set up my blockers. So it says your connection is not private. All right, and this is because of the blocker that you've set. Right, another way to test whether or not it's working is if we edit the YouTube times. So let's say I decide, okay, you know what? Today it's holidays. So I go back to usage limits and I edit my category, put my password in. Right, so let's say I want to change my availability. I'm going to make my times 1:30 till 3, and I'm only going to limit from 1:30 till 3. Now I go in and I can go to one of the apps that I blocked. Now I've changed my settings. Suddenly the video won't play anymore. It says YouTube is blocked, your schedule limit is active now. Then as a parent, if you decide that's not the time you want it to be limited until, then you can go edit that quite easily. But the settings are under your control. Right, as long as you've got a pin so that the student can't change it, it should stay as is. Now, one thing to be aware of is that they can uninstall the extension. And unfortunately, there's not a specific setting we can put on to avoid that. So you might keep an eye on your daily usage and maybe just keep an eye on the extension to make sure that it isn't uninstalled. If you uninstall it, all of these settings are going to reset and you're going to have to set it up from scratch again. Let's go have a look at the Microsoft Edge extension. So if we go to Microsoft Edge and we add a new tab, you'll also follow the same steps. But the 3 dots, you're going to go look for the little Pac-Man item. You're going to look at it, it says extensions, and you're going to select manage extensions. Right. Now what you're going to do is you're going to select the Chrome Web Store. Even though it's Microsoft Edge, you're going to select the Chrome Web Store. Right. This will be linked to your Microsoft Edge, even though it's a Chrome extension. You're going to go look for it, Stayfree. Then you can click on it. You can say get, allow, add extension. You're going to wait for it to download. Right, and then it should pop up with the same screen. Now you can say continue. And the steps repeat. So you can just fill in all your relevant information. And you can say use Stayfree. You'll see that regardless of the app that you're on, the dashboard stays the same. It's got your usage time, it's got all your information. You can then follow the same steps mentioned previously. You can go through usage limits, okay? You can access your settings, it'll give you the same information. Everything within this extension will look exactly the same. The only thing that differs is the way you add it to your browser, right? Hopefully this helps you as you add the Stayfree extension to either the Microsoft Edge or the Chrome extension of your child's devices. Just a reminder, they can delete it or uninstall it. It's quite easy for them to do so, so just keep an eye to ensure that they stay focused throughout the day. You can also edit these settings from the holiday period so that you aren't limiting them constantly.